If you're releasing a new album this year, you need to know how to tailor your release strategy to the Spotify algorithm to give your music the best chance at success. What's up everyone? My name is Kyle and I'm the founder of Kyle the Ally. I help musicians use digital marketing tools like Facebook ads to promote their new music, and I also help consult for artists when they want to craft their release strategy to best set up their new music for success. Now, if we understand something about the Spotify algorithm, we can actually plan an album release strategy in a way that takes advantage of the Spotify algorithm to give you the best opportunity for success with your album release. And that's what today's video is all about. The video I previously published on this channel was a deep dive into how the Spotify algorithm actually works. And I talk about things like Release Radar and Discover Weekly. And you should definitely go see that video because it's a great natural companion to what we're talking about today. Now, releasing an album is a big undertaking, and realistically, your strategy should start several weeks or several months before your album's release date. I'm a strong proponent of releasing singles ahead of your album release date for a handful of reasons. I think anywhere between 2 to 4 singles ahead of your album, appropriately spaced out, is the best way to approach an album release. If you're releasing singles ahead of your album, you should be running a Facebook ad campaign to promote all of the singles individually, in addition to running a Facebook ad campaign to promote the album. And that's because every single that you release before the album is an opportunity to test something out and to perfect your strategy before you get to the album. I talk about the concept of risk on this channel all the time. Every time you take a creative venture like this, you're taking a risk, and we want the album to succeed. You've spent so much time, effort, money, whatever it is, to bring this creative thing into existence, and you just want to be confident that whatever you're doing is going to work. And you can use your singles as smaller bets on each of these individual ad campaigns to try out different video creatives, different pieces of ad copy, different audiences, all of the things that I talk about in other videos on this channel. You should be using your single campaigns as sandboxes to test these things out. So you have an idea of what works, what maybe doesn't work, and you have opportunities to fine tune. And by the time your album comes around, you should be using the best performing ad, the best performing audience, and the best performing piece of ad copy from each of your individual single campaigns, and recycling all of those best options into your album campaign. So that way you're running ads for the album using ads that you've already tested, they're tried and true, and you know what kind of performance you can expect out of the gate. And that way, when the album comes out, you know you're confident you can step up to the plate and swing big. I want to take a quick moment to let you know that Andrew Southworth is hosting his very own music marketing summit. If you don't know who Andrew is, first of all, you live under a rock. He's the guy who pioneered the whole Facebook ads for music promotion thing, and he's a really cool guy. What he's done is he's invited me and other music industry experts to get together and share our expertise, wisdom, and best practices with you guys so you can learn how to more effectively market your music. This summit is going to take place totally virtually online from January 16th through January 18th. And the best part is it's totally free for anybody to attend. Anybody can sign up for free to get a limited time access to all of the summit content in the form of video recordings. But you can also purchase a VIP package for a fee, which will give you lifetime access to all of the content, so you can go back and look at it at any time. This is really something you're not going to want to miss, and I hope you guys choose to sign up. And if you do, you should use my referral link in the description down below. That'll help give me credit for the referral, so it supports the channel, and it gets you guys access to what I think is going to be a really awesome event. Don't miss it. Sign up, and hope to see you guys there. The next question I usually get from people at this point is, how much time should I be leaving in between releases if you're going to do a release strategy like the one I'm describing? And if you remember from my video on the Spotify algorithm deep dive, Release Radar has a time window attached to it. So a song is eligible for a Release Radar boost within 4 weeks of it first being published. And then after that, no more. And it's for this reason I recommend that you leave at least 4 weeks worth of time in between your individual releases when you're leading up to an album release like this. In reality, anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks is usually ideal for this, but no less than 4 weeks. And that's because if you're releasing music more frequently than every 4 weeks, you are stepping on the previous song's opportunity to get on release radar, because you can only put one song up there at a time. And if you release, like, let's say 2 or 3 weeks after your previous release, you cut short that previous song's opportunity to get release radar exposure. So you don't want to sell yourself short of any opportunity, and that's why I really advocate for spacing your releases at least 4 weeks apart. You also need to make sure that you're pitching every song for editorial consideration on Spotify for artists. Even if you're not gunning for an editorial playlist, the chances of getting on there are usually pretty slim for most people. Pitching your song for editorial consideration primes your song to be shown in release radar. So I recommend doing it always for everything. And if you have an album release coming up, Spotify lets you choose a specific song on the album to pitch for editorial consideration. So you should definitely choose one of them on the album and set that song up to be shown in release radar when it goes live. If you're following all of these suggestions for your single cadence, you should be able to continuously promote your music using Facebook ads through the whole process. I recommend setting up a Facebook ad for each of the singles individually as well as the album. That way, when song A comes out, you can start promoting that with its own Facebook ad campaign and start learning things about what works and what doesn't work with your ads. And by the time song B releases, you can stop the ad campaign for A, launch a new ad campaign for B, and you can have a seamless transition, so you're always promoting some piece of your music and you're constantly building momentum and introducing new listeners to the project throughout the entire length of your release strategy. Now it's time to release your album, and you can switch over from individually promoting your singles with their own Facebook ad campaigns to one big Facebook ad campaign that is going to promote the album as a whole, and by extension those singles are on the album. So you should be able to use everything that you've learned from the individual single campaigns about what ad copy, what audience, what videos work best, and combine the best performing ad from each of your individual single campaigns into the album campaign. And this way your album campaign is the greatest hits of all of your best performing ads. That way you can feel confident that what you're going to run to promote your album is going to be strong out of the gate, because you've already tested and perfected these ads. You know what you're getting into. Just remember now that any piece of content you've generated for any song on this album is fair game to use for advertising the album. And that includes the songs that you maybe didn't release as singles, but they might have their own music videos. So in addition to combining the best performing ads from the single campaigns, mix in a little bit of new content in there alongside the stuff that you've already tested to see if you could take what you've had already to the next level. The actual mechanics of setting up your album campaign are extremely similar to what we would do for any of the individual singles, except now we have the advantage of, like I said, using any of the content from the album, so you have a much deeper pool to draw from. Your album campaign might also generally have a larger budget depending on how you pace things out. That's mostly a matter of preference. But now you're promoting, let's say 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 songs on the album than just one song on the single, or if you're doing a waterfall release, maybe there's a handful. So the key here is that you want to use the Spotify URL from the first song on the album when you're going to create a landing page for your music. Like, let's say you're using a service like Hyped It, which is what I personally use. You grab the URL from the top song, not necessarily the URL from the album. That's because when someone opens an album URL, it doesn't start auto-playing music like it does if you choose the top song URL. That'll autoplay the first song on the album and then prime them to start listening to it in order. So that's why I prefer doing it that way. By the way, Hyped It is my preferred method of creating landing pages. I've made a separate video that explains why I like Hyped It so much and the rigorous experiment I use to test those. And if you're interested in getting started with Hyped It, you can use my referral link. I'll put it in the description down below. And it'd be a cool way for you to support the channel and the music promotion service that I prefer to use. When you're ready to release and distribute your album, you want to make sure you're coordinating the ISRCs for all of the singles you've already released with those same songs that are going to get released on the album. An ISRC is basically a code, it's an ID number that uniquely identifies every piece of music on a streaming service, and that's usually issued by your distributor. In this case, I use DistroKid to distribute my own music when I go to release, but other distribution services work a similar way. So if you've released, let's say, 3 singles out of this project already before the album, each single has its own unique ISRC code that's going to identify that song. And while those songs are out, they're going to get people listening and streaming the song and saving it, and all of those metrics you want to carry forward into the album. So the way that you do that is you go to your music distributor when you're ready to upload your album for distribution, get the ISRC code for each of your singles, and make sure you paste that in there when you go to release that same song on the album. And that way your music distributor knows to link the song that's already been released to that same song on the album, and all of your stats will be synced up and carried forward when the song gets released a second time as part of the album. And if you are looking for more specific help with your album release, we should get in touch. Go to my website, kyletheally.com, and send me a little information about yourself through the intake questionnaire that I have on my website. If working together looks like a good fit, I'll reach out to you with next steps. Are you releasing an album this year? Let me know in the comments below what type of strategy you're taking. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Later.